Hi there, Simon from simonwoods.com. I have got 5 Spanish white wines in front of me. Now, Spain's a country that's best known for red wines, Rioja, Ribera del Duero, Priorat and stuff like that. But, and the whites have really been a bit stolid and lagged behind. But in the last few years, there's been some exciting developments, especially in the north of the country, the coolest bit along the north. And I've got 5 of them, hopefully, here today. So, let's start off. Now, I've been practicing this one because it's a real git to say. The wine's called Chacoli. Producer Chomin Chanis. It's got too many T's, X's and Z's in for my liking, but I'll flash, you'll see the name on the screen because I can't pronounce it very well. It's made on the Atlantic coast, the north coast of Spain, from a grape called Ondarabi. Actually, 2 grapes called Ondarabi. I think there's Ondarabi Zuri and Ondarabi Belza. I think of something like this as being the equivalent of Portugal's Vinha Verde, or maybe there's a bit of muscadet character. But I hope, first thing I noticed about it when I pour it out, there's a little bit of fizz, a bit of spritz, a bit wine people say, and quite light in alcohol, I think about 11%, unoaked. Should be one of those classic fresh seafood friendly. You might even be able to taste the sea. Let's see if I can smell it. Not too much of a briny character. Sometimes you do get a slightly salty, savoury brine character, but what there is fresh autumnal pear apple crispness to it. Smells like it's going to be really fresh. When I say autumnal crispness, I mean it feels like the fruits are crisp fruit, but are getting to that really just overripe when the skins are starting to shrivel a bit. And that spritz gives it an extra fresh, not a quite Alka-Seltzer type of feel to it, but you certainly feel your mouth being really enlightened and refreshed by it. It's got a bit of zestiness to it. It's quite sharp, but which makes it really friendly with seafood and stuff like that. And really unusual, interesting flavour, league apart from galumphing, rather top-heavy oaky wines. Breath of fresh air, autumnal flavours, but almost feels spring-like, if that makes sense. It makes sense to me. Next couple of wines. So that's on the bit, just if you turn the corner from France, you hit the bit where they do the Chacoli. Carry on along the coast, and you get to Galicia, just above Portugal. And the best known wine there, Albarino from Rioja. But there's another one that for me is potentially just as interesting, maybe even better. And there's this place called Valdeorras. There's a few interesting places down there. There's one called Ribero and Ribera Sacra, and sometimes they make a bit of red wine, but mostly it tends to be on the white. And Valdeorras for me is the pick of them. And they use this grape here called Godello or Godello, depending on your pronunciation. And I've got 2 of them. Let's give them a whirl. Gaba do Zil. There's a river there called it's either the XIL or the SIL, depending on your dialect. This comes from a guy called Telmo Rodriguez, who hails from Rioja but makes wine in several parts of Spain. His family winery is Remoluri, but yes, he's been doing a bit of flying around. And for me, this is a style of wine that almost is Bordeaux meets Burgundy. It's got that sort of slightly the fruit flavours of Burgundy. Fruit flavours of Bordeaux. That sort of apple, lemon crispness with some of those more minerally characters that are associated with Burgundy. This feels like it's going to be a nice, clean, fresh, zesty wine, but with a bit of nuttiness as well. I don't know whether it's been aged on the lees, but there's like a nutty, yeasty character that smells really nice. Yeah, it's a confident young wine, and it's got texture as well as flavour. Sometimes wine sort of major on one or the other. This one seems to have both. Yeah, this nice apple, nut. If someone had said to me there was Chenin Blanc in there, I'd have very easily believed them, because it's got some of those ripe, very ripe apple, but with that nutty, yeasty character underneath. Not hugely complex, but rather nice. Let's see whether the next one goes a step up in complexity. Because it's from a winery which for me is the pick of the wineries in Valdeorras. It's a Rafael Palacios, who's the Palacios family. They've got a place in Rioja, but they're best known for Alvaro Palacios doing his stuff in Priorat. This is his brother, I think, Rafael. Similarly passionate, maybe not quite as vocal. Or is it his cousin? I'm not sure. Well, I stick my nose in there, and there's something which I'm not sure whether it's related to oak or whether it's related to skin contact, but there's this slightly smoky, almost glue-like character to it. Sounds horrible, a glue-like character, but it smells like it's going to be young and promising. Feels like a wine that I almost want to decant in order to get it to show it at its best. Vintage is 2009, so if it has been in oak, it won't have been out of oak for all that long. But he's got some cuvées higher up where there is quite a bit of oak aging in them. But no, this one, I think this one's the unoaked. I'll find out. I'll flash it up on the screen for you. But yes, I mean, I noticed this. Yeah, there's like a tinned pear character. It's a tinned pear is a character I associate with white Bordeaux. And people say, oh no, fresh pears. No, I get that tinned pear edge here. It smells like it's going to be a bit richer than the one before and a bit more satisfying, but more backward. Well, I was saying before about Bordeaux meets Burgundy. It's got those, again, as I was saying, Bordeaux flavours, Burgundy structure. And my mouth's felt left feeling refreshed, but intrigued. Because there's like a minerally pungency. It's almost if you imagine making a Macon Village in Bordeaux. That's what it reminds me of. It's got this some quite rich flavours, but then it's got this slightly minerally restraint as well. Really nice combination. And it's got some wines higher up which are terrific. Absolutely some of the best wines I've had from whites I've had from Spain. Next one, White Rioja. I'm presuming this is mostly Viola. Oh no, it's got 60% Viola, 40% Malvasia. Viola is the one that provides the volume. Malvasia is the one that provides fatness and floral and more interesting characters, but it's a bit more difficult to grow than Viola, so not many people have it. So interesting to see one with 40% Malvasia. And it's been barrel fermented. So let's see whether it's... Sometimes the barrel is the main flavour in White Rioja. Let's see whether it is here. And first thing I notice is a slightly cheesy note there. It feels like some White Rioja, it's almost too fresh for its own good. At the opposite extreme, it's too oaky and cheesy and aged for its own good. This feels like it's about halfway in between. But Viola by itself can give an almost Sauvignon-like crispness and freshness. Here it feels like the Malvasia is going to add a little bit more fatness. Let's see if that's true. Intriguing that, because you taste it and you first of all you get this whack of heady, honeyed Malvasia, and then the more you stay with it, the more that Viola crispness comes through. And I don't notice that cheesiness as much when I taste it. Let's have another do at that. Quite like it. Yeah. Not sure it's great, but it's £9, so it's not its function to be the world's most complex white wine. I really wish they'd backed a little bit off on that malolactic, because with the Malvasia there, it's already quite a rich wine, so it doesn't need softening anymore. But good, not as good as the Valdeorras. Let's see what the last one is like. Ozel, and a rather pretty label, as you'll see from the picture. Now, grapes on here. 37% Macabea, 15% Paralada. Those are two of the main grapes of Cava. 12 Sauvignon, 12 Chardonnay, 10 Muller-Thurgau, 5 Riesling, 5 Albarino, 4 Muscatel. Is that enough for you? Got a cast of thousands. Let's see whether they have added complexity or just muddied the picture. Costas del Segre, so we're over in Catalonia now. Well, it doesn't feel like it's over-oaked at all. In fact, I'm not sure whether there's any oak here. I left it till the end because I thought, ooh, I bet they put a bit of oak on this blend. But it feels like they haven't. Yeah, it feels young, fragrant and crisp. Sometimes I'm a bit dubious when I see so many grapes going into something like that. It's almost like, well, oh, what should we do with this? Oh, chuck it in, and if it's not worse, let's just keep going. And, oh, we've got rid of everything now. Next vintage. Is that fair? I'm not sure. But, yeah, I'm always a bit suspicious. 8 grapes. Clean, juicy, aromatic, zesty. It's some of those more perfumed grapes, so things like the Albarino, Muller-Thurgau and Riesling, are adding some floral character to it. And there's like a Sauvignon crispness, Chardonnay body. You can probably dissect it and make up lots of bullshit about what each brings to the blend. One thing I will say about it, I was expecting something that was a bit more clumsy than that. I think they've done a really nice job there. It's fresh and it's not too floral. Sometimes things can be almost like too much of a good thing, like too much disinfectant character. But they're aromatic but clean. There's a purity to it, and yeah, I like that. Still think the middle Valdeorras, the Loro de Bollo is my favourite, but that runs it a close second. Anyway, 5 rather interesting wines. See you soon.